All right, it's time to do your proposal now. And it's quite important because it's going to be the first thing that the moderator actually sees on the sample material that you send down to SACE. And you might say, well, hang on, I've already started my research and I've refined my question a little bit and I'm well into things. So what do you mean, why am I doing a proposal now? Well, in a way, we have to let people find out whether the topic is working for them and is a viable proposition before we ask you to actually go back and, if you like, nail your colours to the wall and say, yes, this is my area of research, this is the background to it, this is my question at the moment, and these are my planned research processes. We have to write the research processes as if we are a little bit more at the beginning of our research, simply because if you remember back to the performance standards, there is that column called planning, and the proposal contributes greatly towards your grade in that particular column. So we have to, if you like, use language that is, well, I'm going to, and I will be, and I want to do things, as opposed to I have already interviewed people. So I want to talk you through things, and as you can see in front of you, you've got two examples here. Both of them are on Community Drive, and we've also got a PowerPoint here for you that will just take you through all the major things that you need to do. So first of all, you need to start off with the area of research that you are looking at. And so as you can see in the first example, this is climate change. And in the second example, it is, I'm just trying to get back to the original thing, it is organic farming. And you can see that one person has chosen just to say, well, look, my area of choice is climate change. And in this particular one, they've gone into more detail. I would suggest that for most of you, you are going to be in between a couple of words and a whole paragraph. If you can write more, that's fantastic, but don't kind of push yourself. Don't warble on, if you can't, right? Now, the next thing to do in your proposal is the background to the choice. And you've already done a lot of this in your journal. And here's the trick. Essentially, to answer this question, use some of your journal entries. Cut and paste. And then kind of rewrite things that don't sound as good as they could be. You need to probably write this in your best writing, so to speak. Because as I said, it's going to be the first thing that the moderator actually sees. So as you can see in climate change, the background to the choice is this whole paragraph here. And it's pretty good, actually. It's a pretty good explanation of why this person chose climate change. And with this one here, slightly shorter, but nonetheless good. It's basically doing everything they can to explain why they've come to that particular decision. Now, the next things are the research processes, the planned research processes, and you'll see the slightly different techniques here. This person has simply done a couple of paragraphs, whereas this person has actually divided up the planned research processes into different categories. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do web-based research, non-web-based research. In fact, that probably not the best categories that you could use. You will have different categories according to your research processes chart. So go back to that, have a look at them, and see if you can put them into your own categories that suit your particular topic question. And here are the questions that you need to answer in the PowerPoint. Obviously, you write about them that you're planning. Try to use the words that you used in the research processes chart. The validity, the reliability, the manageability, the ethics involved in this, in the research processes that you have chosen. Just try and drop them into your writing somehow. If you know a particular book that you think you'll use, or a potential interview, write it down. I intend to interview this person and that person and whatever. And if you can be specific about the fact that, well, probably if I'm doing this particular topic, it's this sort of internet source that I will probably use a fair amount of, because I already know that, there's the Cancer Council, and then there's this charity that deals with it, and there's that, whatever it is. And don't forget to include comments about why these processes will be helpful to you. Now, ethical issues. You need to make sure you understand ethical issues, and there are some things in the community files to actually help you. Essentially, the whole ethical side of things comes from not doing anybody, including yourself, any harm. And you need to understand what this means in terms of your research project. I think I've talked about this beforehand, but I mean, for most of you, most of the time it'll be making sure that you reference other people's work. But for some of you who are conducting interviews and surveys, there are other sensitivities that we need to consider. And for some of you, it'll be the essence of your research indeed. So you do need to mention these in your proposal. Here is the ethical issues example here. And in the other one, there's slightly more, if I remember correctly. Oh, no, there isn't. No. So again, this is fairly short and sweet, but some of you will have a little bit more than this. You can see here as well time management. Again, don't make this a generic kind of comment to to make sure that I do well, I have to stay on time or whatever. Try and think of actual things that you are going to do to ensure that you do plan your time properly. So I think I've put something here. List the strategies that will help you stay on track. I mean, identify what your challenges are and how you're going to go about them. So there are some other examples of the proposals there. They all include the capabilities. Some of them mention a little bit more about the capabilities than others. I think the word here is briefly explain, essentially because you're going to do a bit more explanation a little bit later on. And the last thing that you're going to comment upon is the research outcome. And again, this is the brief one. This is kind of like planning. You don't have to stick to it at all. It doesn't matter if it changes later on. And what you need to do is to briefly explain how your current thinking is about your research outcome. What is it that you're thinking of producing? And just do very, very brief sort of comment about that. So aim for at least one side of writing, if not sort of 1.5. But make sure you don't warble, and make sure that it is your best writing. Good luck.